Alright, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, YouTube family. Welcome back to the channel for episode 2 of building my S14. Today is going to be a pretty exciting day and a milestone for the S14 because we are going to get the SR20 out of the car today, hopefully. Taylor is going to come over and help me pull the motor out of the car, and we're going to do our best to get it out. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous, but I'm fairly confident that we should have this out in little to no time at all. I have everything pretty much disconnected, just got a few more things to do and then we're all set to pull the motor. And I'm excited. So before we get started working on the S14, we are going to take the 180SX over to Taylor's place, pick up the engine hoist, and well, hopefully it fits in the car, but we'll see. So first things first, Taylor's place, engine hoist, then we can come back and get to work on the car. Alright guys, so I made it to Taylor's house, beat the rain. And whoever said a engine hoist cannot fit into an S chassis, you're wrong because it fits. Got the engine hoist loaded up in the 180. Taylor's gonna grab some other tools because he has a lot cooler and nicer tools than I do. So we're gonna grab some tools, load it up, head back to the S14 and start tearing it apart. We're not there yet.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. All right, so Taylor and I made it back to the house and he's on one. Chill out. All right, so we're gonna get the engine hoist unloaded and some of the Taylor's tools out, build the engine stand or engine hoist back together so we can actually use it, and then get to work on the car. All right, so we got the chains, blocks, jack stand, and the engine hoist reassembled. Now it's time to work on the motor side. All right, right now Taylor is working to get the rest of the wiring from the fuse box out. Thanks, Taylor. I think the game plan is going to be to unbolt the transmission from the motor and just pick the motor up by itself. I think that's going to be the smartest way to do it. So while Taylor works up here, I'm going to get underneath, get the drive shaft out, start unbolting the transmission, slave, anything else that's connected down there, start unbolting. I just slipped it. All right, so quick update. You guys saw me get my downpipe and drive shaft out of the car. That's great. Taylor up top has disconnected most or everything wiring side on this side of the engine. And right now, what are you working on?
I'm taking his ABS module out and I'm gonna start stripping the wires out of the way. So for one, it kind of gets more simplistic for us to get in the engine bay and pull this motor without having to get tangled up in wires. But I'm also just looking at what I gotta do to help, set this engine bay and see what I gotta do as far as making this bay look a lot cleaner.
Yeah. So, do you do heater core lines yet?
No.
No. So we have heater core lines,
AC,
and power steering. I'm gonna start unbolting the trans from the underside, obviously. Duh. So far, so good. Hasn't been a lot of work, like I said. It's going good. Let's see how this trans drops on the backside. All right guys, so this is Justin from underneath the car here. I'm doing a little cardboard layout here of my transmission bolts. So wherever I pull off a bolt on the, can you see? Whenever I pull off a bolt on the transmission, I like to line it up with this cardboard cutout layout thing. That way I know exactly where the bolts go when I piece the car back together. Side of the motor. Got the ABS unit out because I'm deleting ABS on this car. Power steering kind of moved out of the way. He got a lot of the wiring harness that was connected all along this side up and, well, about to get it out. I have 3 more bolts on the top side of the transmission that are an absolute pain to get to, but I'm gonna do my best to get to those. And yeah, so far so good. We're lucky it's kind of a not beating hot day here in Louisiana, or else this would be a lot more gross. All right, so we have all of the transmission bolts out of the car and onto my little board here. That way I can keep track of them. Maybe.
I'm not ready on this.
We have fuel lines disconnected. What is this? Brake booster. Almost ready to come out.
It is ready to come out.
Heater,
Well,
almost ready to come out.
it's off the engine, so when the
Okay,
engine
it's off the
comes out,
engine.
we can get it out.
We'll get the brake booster off once the engine comes out. Heater core lines are, I don't know if you can see those. Heater core lines have been loosened. We just haven't disconnected them, but the trans is fully out. And everything, what do you see? You got anything else? Oh, AC.
Yeah, AC has to get disconnected.
We have saved AC for last because we don't have a fancy way of, holy shit, I am dusty. But we don't have an actual way of disconnecting and removing the refrigerant from the system without it being blasted everywhere. So kind of save that for the last step. So we're gonna get these heater core lines off, get a game plan for the chain to lift the motor out. And yeah, fingers crossed everything goes good. The plan is still to leave the trans where it's at, slide the motor forward because we have a ton of room in front. So we're gonna pick up the motor a little bit, slide it forward, that way the input shaft comes out of the back side of the motor, lift the motor up, leave the trans in place.
It was a bit messy.
Yeah, we knew it was gonna get messy, and we got messy as it's dripping down. Solid.
That's the pressure line down there. Hey, hold on. Where's the rag at?
All right, so we have the chain hooked up on the motor where we think that we want it. Everything's disconnected. The last step is AC. So we are going to disconnect the AC, let it fill the garage with refrigerant, and then Taylor and I are gonna take a break as the refrigerant leaves the garage because we're not breathing that in again, like we did with his car. So we're smarter. Second time around, we're gonna be smarter and do it last. But yeah, this is pretty messy, man. Just leaking fluids everywhere. I'm glad I have this piece of cardboard underneath catching everything, but well, this is a mess, dude. Okay. Okay, so, wow. It doesn't look like it, but that actually filled up the garage pretty fast. There's way too much refrigerant in that car for how shitty the AC was. 180 SX S13 is still running mint as usual. I'm still having a hard time registering the car because Louisiana wants to charge me $1 million to get plates on it. So, still driving around, still having a blast. Taylor, thanks for the help today, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome.
Taylor's decided to be bold and stay inside the garage as the refrigerant is still pouring out. We pulled the motor on Taylor's FRS and did the exact same thing with the refrigerant, and it made us both feel so sick. So I'm trying to breathe fresh air. He, on the other hand, he has a death wish, so he's just gonna keep doing what he's doing. All right, so I have a jack on the transmission holding it up. That way it takes the pressure off of the input shaft. Hopefully the motor can now slide forward once we hook up the engine hoist.
One more thumb now.
SR is now officially out of the engine bay. Good freaking job, bro. Super excited, came out, I mean, just as easy as we thought, right?
I mean, we said before 5 and it's not even 5.
Yeah, it's not even 5, so. We were here since what, 2:30 maybe?
Yeah.
A couple hours to pull it. I mean, we were also kind of moving slow, doing things that didn't need to be done to get the motor out, but you know, things are gonna get done later in the build anyway. We try to hit now, like the ABS, so. All right guys, so I just took the clutch off the car and you can definitely see on the flywheel all these hot spots and burn marks from where the clutch was slipping. The clutch plate itself, it's not looking too hot. This thing's pretty beat up, especially for it being less than a year old. This clutch is pretty toasted. And then the pressure plate itself also has some hot burn marks and spots in it. It looks like it's just not holding up very well. Definitely was a good sign that it was the clutch that was slipping and not something else mechanically wrong with the car. So I'm happy to see that. So this is where I'm gonna end episode 2 of the S14 rebuild series. Very, very excited to get the SR out of the S14. In the next video, we will go into stripping everything out of the engine bay. That way we can get it ready to be painted and just look way better than its current stage right now because it's disgusting. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed watching me and Taylor pull the SR out of the S14. I had a blast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will catch you in the next video. Love you guys. Oh! I just slipped it. That's f***ing great. That's